Welcome back, kids, to Two Nations Under Ted, a Ted Lasso podcast. Tom Clark here with you, joined as always by Jay Luft and Joe Higgens. And you read it. You know what's going on. You can read, can't you? This is the season 1 rundown. With any luck, you have subscribed and downloaded, and you have thoroughly enjoyed season 1, not only of Ted Lasso, but of Two Nations Under Ted. We sure hope so. The three of us at the moment are doing some time traveling. You don't know what I mean, and I don't want to necessarily let the cat out of the bag, but hey, we're all friends here, right? So might as well tell you. The truth of the matter is we just released episode 1 last week, and episode 2 is coming out this week. So you're not seeing this till 10 weeks after.
10 weeks later.
Yeah. Time travel. It's fun. Gentlemen, we reached the end of season 1. It was a great ride. It was loads of fun. I thoroughly enjoyed it. We're coming into this rundown episode. We're just going to talk about the highlights, of course, kids, just for your information. Guys, what's your thoughts? Were you glad we wrapped up season 1? Have you missed watching season 1? Are you ready to move on to season 2? Where's everybody at right now?
I thought you were going to say something there, Joe, so I stopped.
I know what Joe's going to say.
We were both doing this, and I was like,
yeah,
we need a signal.
Yeah, same brain. I think I really enjoyed revisit. I think I enjoyed it more the second time round. I'd literally only watched it once through before we decided to do this podcast, and then obviously we pretty much threw ourselves into the first season. And I think knowing obviously what we know because the show's finished, and knowing where people are going and seeing the kind of twists and turns of the journey, it just makes it that much more rewarding seeing it with hindsight, I guess.
Yeah. It's seeing where, because the ending is the most fresh in my brain. And so seeing the starting and then just joining those dots up has been a real delight. I think season 1 is probably my favorite season because we get the introductions to everyone and a lot of stuff happens. A lot of stuff happens in all of the seasons as well, but this is the one where everything is set and then they just build upon this tremendous foundation. And it's as I'm still watching them now. It is. I still think season 1 is my favorite season just because all the main players are introduced, and anyone who gets introduced later on isn't that consequential. But I mean, you have the core cast of them here, and you have them all at their worst, and I would say best as well.
Oh yeah, I agree. You jumped quite far ahead. How far are you ahead rewatching season 2 at this point?
About halfway through it, but I am trying to leave the room when my missus puts it on because I don't want to taint my own brain and get stuff confused, and because I don't want to ruin it for people who are watching and listening along and stuff.
Sure.
Because that's not fun, is it? Because it's I was saying the other day, it's such a good show that to have someone spoil it for you would be a crime punishable by not death, but a day in the stocks, a weekend in the stocks,
at least.
I would say, with people throwing vegetables and.
Yeah. I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again because it illustrates your point. I had not yet seen The Sixth Sense when it was released, and as it was still in theaters, I was telling a friend that I hadn't seen it yet. And spoiler, kids, earmuffs if you haven't seen it for whatever reason. But I'm telling a friend of mine I haven't seen it yet. Oh yeah, it's a pretty good movie. No, the guy's dead though, right?
Well,
swear to God. And I was like, what? I mean, it blew the whole movie for me.
Yeah, that's M. Night Shyamalan sort of level of it's him from the start, isn't it? Oh, yes. Come on.
I had that with Shutter Island.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd literally bought the Blu-ray of it, bumped into a friend in town on my way home, and he was like, "Oh, what have you bought?" I went, "Oh, I've just bought Shutter Island. I've never seen it." He just told me the end. I was like, "What?"
Got the receipt. I'll take that back. Yeah,
I was really excited about watching that, and here we are.
I just picture him meeting the guy in the parking lot. Look what I just bought, and he tells him, "Well, go right back in." Yep. Right back in, exchange it.
I didn't even exchange it. I just kept it for a long enough time that I'd forgotten what he'd said. And then went to the pub instead, so I'd forget the conversation.
Although weirdly, I was in a hotel at the weekend and Sixth Sense was on, and me and my wife had an argument over whether the kid's mum actually acknowledges Bruce Willis in one scene, and I couldn't remember whether, and I didn't want to watch it because like it's not a great film, and also I think Casino Royale was on the other channel, which I've never seen and don't. It's not even like a good Bond, is it? It's I don't know. I want Bond to be like all, you know, trousers that turn into pencils and like a hat that becomes Bond. A bicycle, stuff like that. I want Bond with silly gadgets, not Bond being like cool.
Not Bond being crime and a man on a urinal.
Being like Jack Bauer from 24. That's what they turned Bond into.
I want Bond to be a bit daft and a bit sleazy and a bit like a creepy uncle at a family wedding who gets a bit drunk and then starts trying to chat up like his own niece. That sort of level of creepy.
You want like Roger Moore creepy.
Roger Moore was
like,
my
I liked
Bond.
Bronholm. Bronholm was good because he was like 90s sort of weirdness with it. But nah, your man Daniel Craig isn't very good in them.
The only good Daniel Craig one I think is Skyfall. Because it's just a very good story. And it's very clever. But that's only good because Javier Bardem's in it.
I was just saying, an hour of this is just them playing poker.
You could have put Lazenby in Skyfall, and it still would have been good. And Lazenby was the drizzling shit.
Yeah. The Welsh Bond, yeah.
He was Australian, wasn't he?
Was he?
Was that Timothy Dalton?
No, it's God, we're getting way off topic. Alan Partridge, isn't it? Not the Welsh ones. He didn't play it as Welsh, though. I'm not Bond. Jones the Bond. Yeah.
Hey, look, I'll put a button on this, and I will hold to this that instead of Daniel Craig, it should have been Idris Elba. And if he were to get the part now, that's great. But Idris Elba's 71 now. He's not really. But like at this point, I'm like, if you're doing math, kids, it's a physical role, especially if they write it the way it's been played the past several years. Is he up for it? Can he sign on for 5 movies? I don't know. 10 years ago, yes.
Idris Elba's still in incredible shape.
He is. That's fair. But we're all getting older. I just wonder, is there going to be a point where it wouldn't make sense to sign him, even though they should have done it to begin with?
Also, I don't think I could have Idris Elba as Bond purely for the fact that I'd just see him as Luther and wait for him to like.
I see him as the guy from Hobbs and Shaw. Yeah, the robot.
I just wait for him to go off the rails and like start like battering someone and then getting told they're going to take his badge if he doesn't calm down.
I would just expect for him to go open the Rainbow Bridge for Thor at any moment. That'd be what I'd be waiting on.
Let me just check something because I'm fairly sure I have an ongoing bet that has been on my bet sheet for a very long time now, and I think it was for Benedict Cumberbatch to be the next James Bond. I put it on in like 2014, and I don't remember doing it. And I'm like, "Can I have my tenner back?" And they're like, "Nope, it's a bet. It might happen." And I was like, "It ain't gonna happen. Dude, take the bet off. Just take the tenner and give it to some daft kids or whatever."
Hey, look, if that were to happen, this man would have played Sherlock Holmes, Doctor Strange, and James Bond in one lifetime. That is, three icons. So
it ain't happening. But
they keep saying Tom Hardy or Tom Hiddleston are the two that are like the favorites to do next, aren't they?
If they're gonna make him, like a more rugged. No, Tom Hardy's too.
Tom Hiddleston, yes. Tom Hardy, no.
Hiddleston, actually, Hardy, no.
Tom Hardy would be a better villain.
Yes.
Yeah. Give him a scar.
Basically, make him just what Sean Bean was in Goldeneye. But like
I'm down for
a bit more sinister.
Yes.
See, kids, you tune in for Ted Lasso and you get so much other stuff. This is indeed a bonus episode.
This one, I was going to say, this one is like just a bonus episode of.
It's like a bit of fun.
It's like a peek behind the curtain of like before and after when we record. We're just talking about shit.
It's a break for you. You
Trust me.
If you want, you can skip this one, but I wouldn't because there's going to be
because we're awesome. Are you kidding?
No.
Yeah, because I downloaded episode 1 and 2 because we go back to back. Just again, pulling back the curtain. And in order to divide it up, I'm trying to find the marker, and we talked so much in between, and I'm like, oh, I can't find where it's at. So yeah.
I was
Anyway.
gonna say, Tom Hardy needs to pull his finger out and do another Mad Max. That's what he needs to do. The lazy bastard.
Yeah, it's all his fault that there's not been another Mad Max.
He needs to.
I think it is his fault.
Doing films with Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
He's to pack that in right away.
Stop doing your arty Christopher Nolan.
Stop being Venom.
Stop. Listen.
No, I like the Venom film.
Joe, for God's sake, take an aspirin, go to bed. Listen, the Venom movies have got to stop. It is a nightmare. It is freaking terrible.
I really like them because they're kind of dumb.
I haven't watched the second one, to be fair. I thought the first one was really
I think it's on... the first one is dumb. The second one's better because you've got Woody Allen. Woody Allen.
Yeah, that's a much different film.
There would be carnage if Woody Allen was in it in this day and age. Fucking hell.
Mia Farrow is the only thing that can stop him. Yeah.
Mia Farrow is Gwen Stacy. I don't know. Oh my God.
Oh.
No, they're dumb. But as we've just said about the Jeff Jarrett Texas Chainsaw Massacre, sometimes you can have a bit of dumb as a treat.
That's true. Yeah. I do like a bit silly as a treat.
Yeah, just as a treat.
That's why there's silly, but then there's asinine.
No, you've got to bear in mind, Tom Hardy is playing both roles in that film. He's acting against himself for a lot of it. He gets into a tank of water. He's gross all the way through it. He looks like absolute me, right? All the way through it, right? He just looks
clammy all the way through.
He looks, like me now because it's 24 degrees here.
It's stupidly hot.
Yeah.
I just
put my shorts on. I've just rolled my trousers up like a true British man.
I'll wrap all this up with this. I need. No, it's fine.
Right, let's get back to Ted Lasso. Sorry.
Yeah. I need Sony and Marvel to figure this out. I don't know how many more years Sony has a chokehold on because of the Spider-Man game, and they have a chokehold on Venom and Kraven. We're all anxious to see that, yeah. Ha! Oh, and we'll see. I don't know. I just don't know what we're doing.
I'd rather wrap a wet flannel around my scrotum.
That's very visual, but yeah, it's no, I can't disagree. And on that, what a great segue, scrotum, and we'll go into Ted Lasso season 1. Brilliant.
You know what rhymes with scrotum? Season 1.
You rearrange the letters, it spells.
It's a what is it? An acronym? What is that? What
yes.
Yeah.
No.
Anagram.
Anagram.
If it was an acronym, it would be Season Cool of Ted. I've lost it. No. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Scuba or TARDIS or Just cut all this out. Let's start again.
Again, this is what we look like at the end of a show or at the end of 2 shows back to back. I'm telling you.
This is the earliest we've ever started, and I can see why we don't start this.
Well, I'm just saying. So, season 1, kids, had 10 episodes. The first episode of season 1 initially aired on August 14th, 2020. I don't know if we ever came to tell the audience out there watching and or listening that it was anniversary time. And the last episode, season 10, airs September 25th, 2020. So again, Apple TV, if you haven't subscribed, it's like $7 over here a month. That's it. It's nothing for Apple TV. So
I think with a lot of UK phone networks and stuff, you get like 6 months free or whatever.
Yeah.
I get it with my phone,
Yeah,
so
get it, watch it. Watch like the Beastie Boys documentary that's on there. That's pretty good.
It's good.
That is very good.
Yeah, there's a couple of other good documentaries and stuff on there, but the rest of it isn't really great. Strange Planet is very good. I keep banging on about, but that's just me.
Severance. Severance is a bit wishy-washy, but it's fucking awesome.
You hear that, Apple TV? Throw some money at your boys here because we're giving you free promotion.
Yeah.
You can't beat that.
They've got the MLS on there now as well. Next season.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What's that?
Major League Soccer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's football, but American.
I thought it was a disease, and I was like, why are they showing people with a disease on television?
That's close. That's ALS.
It's you got to keep the energy up. Yeah.
Yeah. I was cracking. I was gonna say it. You
Oh.
know that league that Roy absolutely hates. That he talks
Yeah.
about.
Oh no, I know
Yeah,
him. I've watched Bend It Like Beckham. Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, "I'll be a star over there." Let's be honest. Yeah.
He would. He would. He'd be what they call oh shit, what's it? I think it's a designated player, designated signing they call it. Where they're allowed, because they've got a salary cap, they're allowed 3 players that break the salary cap or don't count towards it, which keeps it sensible, unlike English football, which is losing its fucking mind at the moment.
I mean, do you remember the days when like people were hacking Fire Sticks to get on like what was it, like you get all the hooky channels and that?
Yeah,
right.
And I remember like I set my dad's up and I went round to watch football on a Saturday with him because I don't really care for football, but spending time with my dad and that. And we could only find an American stream of this game, and the commentary, I was going to say, is asinine, but also led to some tremendous thing. Like it went out for a corner, and he's like, "Oh, the forward ran out of real estate there." And I was like, "What? That's not a thing." What?
Yes, it is. It is
No,
over
what?
here. It means he ran out of room.
I got it, but I was just like, I've never heard this before. It was really, it was nice to see it from the opposite side of it, and but yeah, and also the fact that the matches are on at what 8 o'clock in the morning there, something like that.
Yeah, because like the Premier League that recently started, it's all on Peacock. So if you have the Peacock app over here, that's how you're watching it. So NBC. There you go.
Me and you were watching a game at the same time on Saturday, weren't we?
That 5-1 Newcastle, that was fun. Now I don't know because I've never really been into it till this show, right? But like if something's 1-0, I don't know if is that gonna do anything for me? I'll be like, God, this
is... it depends on the game, because sometimes you can have like a 1-0 and it be like really like tight and like lots of chances, just the goalkeepers play really well. Sometimes you can have a 1-0 and like the goals, all that happens and nothing much else. It depends on the teams playing.
It's why that episode of The Simpsons where they're just kicking the ball around in a circle. It's
literally
I mean, I'm fairly sure Ted says at one point, like, how is 2 a good score at one point or something like that. He's because if you want that, watch rugby.
Yeah.
Rugby looks insanely violent. Looks like a hardcore match. Rugby does. So
Rugby league, union's a bit soft, lads. Yeah,
well,
boys.
For season 1, because I've got the episode to my left on one of my screens here. Is I think that's episode 8 or 9 when Rebecca reveals her master plan to Ted. I think 9. Yeah, I believe this season 1 is all about Rebecca. I think season 1 is Rebecca's story. We get the benefit of meeting everyone, as you said, Joe, and getting everyone's backstory and seeing where they are and getting glimpses of where they could be. But season 1 for me is all about Rebecca. Oh,
yeah, it's her redemption arc. Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
It feels like there's one of them like every season, isn't it?
Yes,
because like you've got obviously Rebecca in season 1. Someone else who we'll talk about in a bit in season 2, and then
the big one in season 3. Yeah. Which I think I've just got to the bit in season 2 where the thing happens, and I was like, I understand why more now. Yeah. But yeah, I would say it's Rebecca and Roy.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of kind of like smaller, like Rebecca's kind of like, look, it's so, okay, so look at it as like you've dropped the plate and it's broken, but it's like fixable. And Rebecca's the biggest piece of that plate.
Yeah.
And then like Roy, Keeley, Ted to a degree, Nate, I'm trying to think who else he really
Higgins
helps.
Is in there.
Higgins, Jamie to a degree as well.
Yeah, but Jamie's like a bit you put in and then it falls out because you didn't put enough glue on it. Yeah,
he's like a chip that you just can't seem to get back in this season.
Just from a different plate.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else now.
I mean, everyone does have journeys in this. Sam has his own little journey. Everyone has their bits, but yeah, I would say Rebecca is the main focus of it. I would
She's
say
the
Roy,
big piece, all the little ones.
because Roy has like the most stuff happen from the start to the end of where he ends up. Is that, whereas Rebecca's is more of sort of an emotional journey as opposed to like a physical, if that makes sense.
And all things considered, when you first meet Brett Goldstein, the great Brett Goldstein as Roy Kent, when you first see him, you're like, if you'd never seen the show, you're like, this is not gonna work. He won't break Roy because he's so great at what he does. But like, you're like, he won't break him. And Roy was the first domino to fall, which is mind-boggling.
Ted says, I can't remember which episode it is, but he says he's the one.
He's the one.
If we get him, we get the rest of them.
That's right.
Because he's the captain and everyone looks up to him and fears him and respects him. I'm not sure what the 50-50 is on that. I would say probably about 70% fear and 30% respect. But if you get him, they've got everyone because he's been there the longest. And like, and he does. And he gets him very early on in the season.
Yeah. Season 2 is when that happens.
Because
I'm sorry, episode 2.
No. Episode 2 is when season 2 is when all the weird stuff happens. But
it shows
lasers.
I was gonna say it shows how kind of like a simple man of simple pleasures that Roy is. Not to say that he's a stupid character because he's not. He's a very complex character. But at the end of the day, the thing that wins him over is he says to Ted, "The shower is broken and it needs fixing." And the gesture of Ted making sure that gets fixed in Roy's mind is like, okay, yeah, he's not as bad as I thought.
He's listened to me.
Yeah.
Which I don't think he's ever had before.
He's had someone actually like acknowledge what he's got to say.
It's a small thing that you can get fixed. And yet he's been doing this for, I think, was it 20 years? He's been a Premier League player. Yeah. And I'm assuming he's just been under managers who've just gone, go out and do your stuff, Roy. Like, no one's ever sat down and gone, what do you want for the future? What are your hopes, dreams, ambitions, loves? You know, and just treated him as an actual human being as opposed to a football machine.
And you get the feeling that he's played for coaches before who either rule with an iron fist or who call all the shots, and you can't hear yourself talk because the coach won't stop talking. And so Roy's never had to be a locker room leader. But with Ted coming in from an American perspective of being in locker rooms in this country, it's like your kids. If you have two kids that won't stop fighting with each other, you can keep calling them down all day, but they have to find a way to get along. They have to find a way to coexist without killing each other. And if you do nothing but berate them constantly, they're just going to be waiting for your direction. So they have to figure this out.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Which he does between Roy and Jamie. Like, is it episode 6? Episode 6 was the haunted changing room, therapy room.
Like
6. I've got, I think it's 6.
Episode 6 is 2 aces. So yes, that's when we see Jamie Rojas.
That's where we get the sort of like truce between Roy and Jamie.
Well, they do it a little bit earlier as well. I know what I was getting confused with now. On episode 4, when they're at the gala.
Yeah,
and
they sit at the bar and they have the
table and they have the drink together. And it feels like, obviously Roy's like sees a lot of himself in Jamie when he was younger, and he says that. And it feels like a real turning point in their relationship. But then obviously as soon as they're back on the field, Jamie's back to being a prick.
Jamie, yeah.
And episode 4 is for the children, where the gala happens. So yeah, that's
for the children.
Dude, guys, think about this. By episode 4, we get For the Children, and episode 4 is a great episode, and it's number 4. It's not 8 or 9. It's number 4. Like, if you don't know by number 4 that you're into an amazing show, you'll never know, because episode 4 happens. You're like, my God, this show's incredible.
Although I think when we recorded, I think of season 1, episode 4 is the lowest ranked one on IMDb.
Yeah, because we were talking about that and we were like,
also,
because
yeah,
I think collectively we said it was our favorite.
Yeah, I think so.
I think I'm fairly sure I say that every episode we do.
Well, that's fair too.
I think I don't know. I've got a really big soft spot for episode 3, which is the one where it's Trent shadowing Ted for the day.
Yeah.
I think that's like just a really good episode. Like it could be a self-contained one if this was like a sitcom or not a sitcom, I suppose it is in a way. But oh, go on, Joe.
No, there's just like all of them. It's like Make Rebecca Great Again, where they go to Liverpool. It's a tremendous like they're all great, and I think that's probably why I've said this is my favorite episode when we do them, because I've just watched it and I'm like, I love this. Like it's so every episode is just building and building and building, and like but I think 4 is that one where it finds its feet and it goes, we don't have to do. So we can do stories, we can do heartfelt, legitimate stories, and still make them funny, and still make them like great, and not be like, what's the word? I can't think of the word. Like not like fake tugging on your heartstrings.
Yeah.
Like genuinely make you invest and care for these people, even though I know it's not real. But it's so well done that I genuinely love these people and think that it's real. I nearly bought FIFA just so I could play as them.
Well, it's that magic that can happen between a cast and an audience. I mean, we've seen over the years different shows be saved and be brought back because the network cancels the show, and you have 1 million people email and write in the course of a week and say, you people have lost your minds. I love this show. And they bring the show back. So we see the power of connection between the audience and the cast in a lot of different ways here.
Unless it's Firefly, then they'll never bring that shit back.
Man, boy, they talk about that show like it was the Ark of the Covenant.
What a season. It's a great season.
Yeah.
And the film's fine.
The film happened,
The film happened.
The film's fine. It feels very much like they went, Reavers? Yeah, that'll do. Right. Let's just do that for 45 minutes. Yeah.
The film was them just going, we've built this show up. Everyone like really wants it back. We're not going to give you a series, but we'll give you a movie to wrap it all up.
Yeah, but that happened to Farscape. Again, we're getting way off the Farscape as well.
Don't get me started on Farscape. I'm still angry about that.
Did I ever tell you about the time when I bought the Farscape Peacekeeper Wars DVD and it wouldn't play past a certain point? So I took it back and they gave me another one and that wouldn't play past a certain point. And I went, is this just how it ends?
Wow.
It just stops at like chapter 4 episode. Like, I've
sure
never seen the end of it.
The same DVD back.
Oh no, I was, unless they went and shrink wrapped it and gave it me back again, which seems a bit out of place for HMV.
From someone who used to work in game, that does happen.
Oh,
crazy.
Well,
or did.
I've never seen. I don't know how. I don't know whether Crichton gets home or whatever. I've never found out, and I've too far gone to care now.
Yeah, I've got, I think, episode 9 playing right now, by the way, and it's the scene with Ted and Beard at the bar when Beard slams the table because he's talking about. He says, "I understood the mission when we were back in the States, but those were kids and these are men. These are professionals."
It has repercussions.
Yes, so many great moments. So many, like you said, we've said since the beginning of this series, man, that seeds are planted. And by the last episode of season 3, we have an orchard, just trees everywhere from all the seeds that have been planted, man. It's crazy.
All of them with little blossoms of fruit on them. And yeah, it's some of the trees in there are older, like Rebecca's Ark harvests fruit very early on, but then it has a weird reblossom in season 3, and we get some more stuff. But all of the rest of it is young seedlings at this point.
So let me ask you this, Jay. I'll hit you first here. Do you have any of the characters here that surprised you the most with their arc in just season 1? any of them, but did you expect that they would get to that point by the last episode, or were you pleasantly surprised, or anything for you?
I think Rebecca's the big one because not that I didn't think she had any redeemable features, because I thought you could clearly see she was a good person who was just very much like going through a lot of pain with a divorce, and unfortunately was acting the complete wrong way about it because she didn't have a support system or didn't think she had a support system. I genuinely forgot how dislikable she is in the first couple of episodes. Even later on, this whenever she's horrible to Higgins, it's Jesus Christ, these people all want her to be happy. That's all they want.
Yeah.
But I get it.
Oh yeah, no,
her being horrible at Higgins, you get it, but also let people in.
Yeah, but also especially
that's what Ted does. Ted comes in and literally kicks the doors in, in a non-violent way, just by throwing biscuits at the door. He manages to prise them open, and that's what she needs. But those first sort of 3 episodes of season 1. It's Rebecca at her worst, and then when she makes friends, that bit where she sort of makes friends with Keely, when Keely's commenting on her breasts in that picture, and you see the mask again. You see the mask drop for a second, and she's like, she wants nothing from me other than just my friendship.
That's it,
and then it comes back up again. It's just these moments of weakness. Every time Ted does bits with her.
Mm-hmm.
As it goes on and on, the bits get longer and longer before she goes, Ted, I have to stop this, and walks off. But they get longer as it goes on. And then I think after the Liverpool bit, that's where they're kind of fully sort of synced up, but then Keely finds out. And
I was going to say the thing for me, which was where I genuinely thought, all right, the first time I saw it, all right, there's no saving her here, is after the pub with the darts, where Ted embarrasses Rupert, and she's gushing to Higgins about how great it was. Ted embarrassed Rupert, and then Higgins says something about the club, and she just goes straight away back to vindictive Rebecca.
Yeah.
And I was maybe there's no maybe she's just gonna be the antagonist for the entire series. Obviously, then straight after that, where Higgins quits and stands up to her, and then Keely comes in and confronts her. That's when we realize, okay, she was it was almost as if she was going a little bit too close to the dark side, and Keely's that arm that just grabbed her and pulled her away from it.
It's
true. Making her accountable for her actions.
It's the flying too close to the sun. Yeah, she gets. But it's the weird thing when that happens. She yells at Higgins, and Higgins quits and there's a knock at the door. And she's like, I knew you'd come crawling back. And it's Keely. And you see her shrink back and become this little afraid girl again. And that's when I think that's when the full switch of her going, these people only want, Keely only wanted my friendship. She wanted nothing from me. She wasn't using me in any way. She wasn't trying to leech off me or use me to boost her own profile. She just wanted to be my friend, and I've betrayed her.
But that's the thing as well, with the whole kind of hell hath no fury, a woman scorn thing.
Yeah,
is that Rebecca literally is leaving a trail of bodies, and she doesn't care who's in who's in the crossfire. She just wants to destroy the thing that Rupert loves the most, and it doesn't matter who she hurts, whether it's her friends, whether it's people who genuinely want her to be happy and want her to be able to move forward from this. She just wants to destroy the club. So it takes Keely pointing out to Rebecca that because remember as well, and for the children, Rebecca says to Keely about accountability, and footballers aren't accountable. You need someone who's going to be accountable, and that's when Keely sees that in Roy, doesn't see it in Jamie anymore. But also then makes Rebecca have to be accountable.
Yeah. And I think that would be in the Sesame Street sort of word of the day. Season 1 is accountability.
I like to think we said like the main character of this series is Rebecca. I like to think the underarching theme is accountability and being accountable for your actions and how they can affect other people.
Well, that is all of episode 9, isn't it? It's Keely going, if you don't tell Ted, then I'll tell him, and how much worse is that going to be? And she tries to play it off, and she's like, oh, it's fine, like, we're still friends. And she's like, no, we're not friends.
Yeah.
Until you tell Ted what you've done, then we can go back to being mates. But until you are accountable for your actions, which you told me about in those toilets, right?
In episode 4, and
oh my god, like, it's literally she's buttered her own bread, and now has to eat it. Like, she's made her own bed and has to lie in it. Like, she's become her own, like, cure.
And when Rebecca tells her about accountability in episode 4, she's talking about Jamie messing around on her and seeing someone else. But she doesn't, like, as the audience, we're sitting there going, accountability, Rebecca, let's talk about that. What are you doing to this team and what are you doing to Ted? But she's so far gone, she doesn't see that yet until she sees what it does to Keely.
Or she just sees Keely as, like, a piece of fluff. And she's just like, you know, they'll never be accountable for their actions. You need to move on and find stuff. Because Keely's always probably hung around the grounds and, like, with Jamie, and she's a good-looking lass and she's a glamour model and that. So she probably, I don't know.
I think up until that point, she probably didn't see Keely as more than that. But I think as soon as Keely kind of starts, like, breaking down the barriers a bit with her, and again, like, as we've said, Rebecca doesn't really have a support system to deal with this.
She has no friends.
Yeah. And
she
then
has
obviously,
nobody.
Obviously, like, Sassy comes back into her life, and Keely, like, starts becoming a good friend to her, and Ted and Higgins are both there for her as well, as much as she kind of begrudges it. And it takes her to kind of, like, let her guard down with Keely to then all the kind of bricks fall.
Which I think is that weekend in Liverpool that they spend together is when that happens, and then it's a strange thing, the Rebecca thing, because, like you said, rewatching it, she could have been. But it's episode 4 when we meet Rupert for the first time.
Yeah,
and then
like,
we go, that's
the
true villain of the piece. I can see why you are the way you are now, because he is a piece of shit.
Although one thing that I only thought about when we were, like, kind of, like, when I'm just been flicking through my notes before we started this. So in the Liverpool one, she's the person who kind of, like, helps Ted out when he's having the panic attack. She, at that point, she's the only person who really knows about that. Like, not even Beard and, like, Ted's inner circle know about that. Only Rebecca. And she's still trying to destroy him. That's pretty messed up.
Listen, you're 100% right. However, you know what she could have done? She could have went to the press anonymously and said that the coach of AFC Richmond is having panic attacks, that That's true. You know what I mean? That someone spotted him outside the club and could have completely, but you wonder, did she not do that because in that moment, it didn't matter what her agenda was. All that mattered was she saw herself in him and knew a panic attack when she sees it, because she's had several, more than likely, because of, you know, the villain of the show. But there's such a duality to her character in this season.
But also before that, we get the big conversation between her and Sassy about Rupert put you in a tower, but you didn't let anyone visit, or whatever the line. I can't remember what the line is.
Rupert went up to his ivory tower, but you followed him up the steps.
Yeah.
Which is a fantastic line.
And I think that's where she's gone, oh crap, people do actually care. And I think a lot of that, and then when she sings the song and everyone's cheering, they're all having a good time, she's like, they accept me as part of this, I am part of this. Like, whether I am the boss or not, like, it's still, I don't want to use the word family, because that's Fast and Furious has ruined that. But I think it's the first time she feels accepted. And with the Ted, she could, if she had gone to the press and gone, then she would have been like the ultimate villain. But she doesn't. She still. I think at that point she still wants Richmond to fail, though, doesn't she?
She does.
Yeah. But I suppose in a way, like thinking about it, like when you've said that, she tried to get Trent to like write a smear article on Ted, and he didn't. She tried to get the pictures of Ted and Keeley published, and it didn't work. Maybe she's just thought, oh yeah, the press isn't the way to handle it. If I want something done right, I'll do it myself.
Yeah.
So, Joe, same answer for you. Rebecca, in other words, the character that you didn't think would maybe have the arc that they had in season 1, or do you have somebody else?
Roy's arc is an interesting one. From, surly, grumpy, coming to the end of his career player, but won't let it go. And then by the end of it, we've seen that he's a soft touch. Like, it's all bravado. We find out that he's had a horrible life. Like, just the most traumatic upbringing ever. And then, but he sees that Ted genuinely cares about what he does. And this harkens back to what we were saying earlier about that. I don't think he's ever had that. I think he's had managers and coaches and stuff who have just yelled at him for years and be like, run faster, kick the ball better. I don't know what managers do. I don't know. But, and Ted's the first one that's ever said, what would make your day-to-day life better? Fix the showers. Okay, we can do that. And that's where Roy starts off as this curmudgeon and ends up as like a grumpy uncle. Like it's a lovely sort of thing that happens to Roy, and it only gets better as it goes on. My other one is Nate. From Nate being like the whipping boy who's bullied to actually being a member of the training staff at the end of the season is a great. But the thing is, Nate kind of has weird peaks and troughs. Like, he's still Nate. He's still afraid of everyone. But is it the Liverpool match where don't say it don't read it from the paper, say it from your heart. Yeah. And he just beasts Roy, and then Roy rips that bench up and they go out and smash it. Like that's Ted giving Nate agency. That's him giving him power. And like, by the end of the season, we get a little bit more of that, but Nate is still like when he won't bench Roy and Beard runs off and hides. Like, Beard runs off down the end of the pitch and won't talk to him. And Nate just literally like won't even admit it. But then afterwards, it's like, I'm so sorry for running away. Like, he's still afraid that these people are going to like hurt him and betray him in some way. And I think I think that's probably why I like the first season so much, because Nate goes from being the whipping boy to being accepted. Like, when he gets that whistle, the team lift him up and cheer him and applaud him. And at the start of the season, they were hitting him with towels and calling him like a knobhead. And that's the power of Ted that's happened there. They've given someone who cares, like with Higgins, like they've given him the power to be his own destiny. Oh, that sounds so lame. But
no, it's true.
I was going to say, with like a team though, like to truly work as a team, you've got to have that kind of sense of like community amongst yourselves. And that's what Ted's trying to, like, when you were saying about you didn't want to say family, I was thinking, well, it's more like a community anyway, because it's people who kind of can come in and out of that community. And it's not like people who you kind of stuck with. It's people who you kind of can welcome in and, if need to, remove from it.
A weird sidebar, but Jay, you've worked in bars, haven't you?
Yeah.
Right. Do you not find that the people you worked in bars with, you form weird bonds of friendship with that are unbreakable?
Yes.
But I work in an office now. I couldn't give a shit if they caught fire. Right?
Yeah.
But like,
by the way, if you're watching this show and you work with Joe, he's just kidding.
There's like 3 of you I like. The rest of you can go to hell.
And you get to guess who's who.
Yeah, so. I know, that's the game, isn't it? You know who you are. But it is like, it's that weird thing of like people who are under weird stress. Like bar work is incredibly stressful because you've got people yelling at you and you got to do all this stuff, and you form these weird bonds of friendship. And I'm assuming Premiership football or any professional sport is the same thing. And I think that's what was missing, because in the first episodes of this, we see they're all sitting there on their phones, they're all doing their own individual things, and then by about episode 4 or 5, they've got a table football in there, they're playing ping pong, they're having sword fights in the shower.
It's like after it was 6, the ghost one.
Yes, 6 is the one that really cements that together.
Yeah, where Ted walks into the dressing room and they're all like laughing and joking, and he's like, "Well, look at this," and that's when he finds out Jamie's been recalled.
One of my favorite lines of the entire show is from that episode where they're getting ready to light the fire in the can, and Beard says, "Maybe we should do this part outside." It's so in my head, I can still hear him because it's so like, oh my God,
But also, I think from that episode is also one of my favorite lines. Jamie's been recalled. They've repossessed his house.
Yeah.
I do.
He's gonna lose his house. Yeah.
I do. There's a bit in that episode that it cracks me up every time, which is when Colin throws his car keys into it.
How are you getting home?
How are you getting home?
How are you getting home?
There's a segue for me. I'm going to answer my question, but I'm going to choose someone that you guys haven't mentioned. It's the combo of Colin and Isaac. I could not have imagined. I mean, Colin, we don't know what it lies ahead for him till later.
No.
But Isaac at the end of this season is like, you're like, I think I want to hang out with Isaac. But when you first meet him, you don't want to be around Isaac because he's not a good guy. He's a douche. No. And so's Colin. But like by the end, you're like, if I was getting, harassed by somebody, if they wanted to throw hands, I believe I'd have Isaac. I'd call him for help because
Isaac's
he's a stand-up guy.
Wall of meat. Yeah,
he is.
I think it's less about the fact that they're like the bad people, but it's more like they're just like they're trying to fit in, so they're just following like the guy who is a dickhead in Jamie.
I would say because Jamie is the most, because he's come from city down to them. They're trying to like get in with him. They're in his thrall sort of thing. Well,
as soon as Ted puts Jamie in his place, and then Colin and Isaac both stand up to him, and they see him as equals, then that's when they like start really coming out their own shell. Yeah. And you see like the little glimpses of like Isaac like taking like leadership, and Roy kind of acknowledging it and going, "Oh, okay."
It's the bit in the hotel where your man's on his phone and Isaac just glares at him and shakes his head.
Yeah.
And he puts it away.
I'm with Tom on the start. I think they've got like a really good, as you said before, it's like an orchard, but they're like kind of like the shootlands at the moment.
Yeah.
I think Isaac's season 2 in particular is brilliant. I love the journey he goes on to try and like fill Roy's shoes in season 2. Not to kind of spoil too much for season 2, but
he gets handed the captaincy.
He gets handed the captaincy from Roy, and it's like it's always going to be a hard mantle to kind of fill.
Yeah.
The fact that obviously at the end of season 1, Roy pretty much retires. But it doesn't. Yeah. It never says it officially, but it's like, yeah, he did.
Yeah. Because it's that heartbreaking bit where he's in the dressing room. You can't come back here, and Keely just comes in and sits next to him, and puts her and puts her head on his shoulder, and like, no, but it is like, and it's so dumb because it's not real. But I feel so much for Roy because this is all he's known.
Yeah, Keely's almost. I said it in which episode
Keely is
was
the
it?
catalyst for all of this, I would say.
There's an episode in particular,
and then Keely orbits around him doing stuff.
Oh, what's the episode? I can't find it on my notes now. But there's an episode where Keely, I feel like it's episode 9, the one where Rebecca's like accounting, like apologizing to everyone, and Keely's like essentially playing the role of Ted in that episode, and I think you see it with obviously like she's the first person who kind of really like hits it off with Ted in the first like couple of episodes.
It's true.
because they're both such similar people, and they're both they don't take things too seriously. They're willing to kind of welcome each other's stupidity into, like, they're willing to entertain it, like the stupidity of the situation.
We get like Keely's stupidity when she's talking to Roy. I know how to press your buttons. No, you don't. And she just starts talking over him. And I'm like, that's a fucking Ted maneuver. But Keely gets it as well. It's God.
And she's like I know we kind of talk about Ted as being like the main reason this is happening, but that's within the team. Behind the scenes, it's all Keely. Like with Rebecca, with Roy, both during this, and then obviously when he's like outside the whole club, even with Jamie, whenever he like tries to like fight back against what Ted's trying to do, she's the voice of reason going, you ever thought maybe he's trying to help you?
It's that episode where they're talking about why don't we meet in your house? Well, because we always have sex when we go to my house. And they're talking about Pavlovian responses. And it's the episode with the haunted. Is it episode 6?
Yeah, it's
5?
It's 6.
Yeah.
Is it 6?
2 aces.
Yeah, 2 aces. Where she says, have you ever thought that maybe he's trying to help you? And then he goes, it's Pavlovian, and walks off.
Yeah.
Like, because Jamie's thick. Like,
I love Jamie.
But he's an adorable level of thickness.
I hate him in the first series, and I didn't realize how much I disliked him in the first series.
After the 2 aces episode, though, like he's like Ted's got him, and it's only Rebecca's.
Yeah, like
Rebecca's warpath that stops Jamie from like ascending to what he could be.
But again, in the last episode, we see it's just a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
Because of the way his dad treats him. And Jamie acts like an arrogant prick because it hides the fact that realistically he's a scared little boy who's in a man's world. And he's getting to a point where he's gone from City, which is basically like an ocean, to going to Richmond where he's a whale in a
puddle.
Yeah.
I hate that scene as well. I think I said it at the time.
It's so upsetting.
I went back and rewatched it, and just when that boot hits the wall.
Oh,
It's not even that. It's when he looks up and looks at Ted, and
Ted just goes like, and I reckon in Ted's head he's like, "Do I step in?"
Yeah, well, I think that obviously that's why Ted gets Beard to give him the note.
Yeah,
but it's just the fact that like he looks and I think it's one of those with Ted where like Jamie's not his player anymore, so he doesn't want to step in and overstep the boundary of it because
it's just an awful scene. And also, like Jamie Tartt's dad, like if your son is that talented and stuff, for you to yell at him is. But there, as we find out, like, well, as we know in Jamie Tartt's dad is an absolute waster of a human being anyway.
He is.
He's treating his child like that. So
I want to go back to the Keely bit real quick because it's something occurred to me. If Ted doesn't come to this team, do some of the same things still happen because of Keely?
No.
Nothing happens because
nothing happens. If they'd have kept what's he called? Oh, Johnny Testicle Trousers.
Johnny Raisins.
Carl Plums. I can't remember the guy's name.
I can't remember his name.
The guy that gets like he ends up.
He's a great reoccurring character though because he's a pundit, isn't he? Later on.
But
I'm gonna look his name up while we're talking.
But if they'd kept him on, or they'd have just got any of the other like interim Premiership managers, they'd have just do what they always do: keep the boat steady. If the team goes down, they'll get a 50 million golden handshake. They'll get someone else in. Like, I don't know much about football, but I know that like it's well bent in that respect.
George Cartrick, played by Bill Fellows.
He's called George Cartridge, did you say?
George Cartrick.
Cartrick. Sorry, I said Cartridge. I was like, George Cartridge is a tremendous name.
So You don't think she has an impact on Rebecca without Ted in the equation?
No. I think Rebecca would have treated Keely as a
gotcha.
piece of fluff
Yeah.
and stuff. It's only because Ted comes in with those biscuits and softens her up, I think, that she would have even given Keely the time of day. Like, if it was just someone else who came in and went, we're going to play these formations, you'll be there. We still would have had Obasanya in defense and not up front like he should be. Like, it would have, because I don't know, maybe they would have got someone else who saw what Ted sees or doesn't see. But I can't see it.
Yeah, like George is very much kind of like that
old school
like
Brian Clough.
Yeah,
yeah,
like a stereotypical like manager who he'll manage a team that's going to fight relegation and either just stay up by the skin of the teeth or get relegated, get sacked, and go to the next club.
Yeah, he'll either be a hero or it doesn't matter. I'll just go and take my money and I'll go on and do the same thing somewhere else.
He'd be one of those managers that the fans just don't give a shit about either way. Like. They don't really want him there. They'd want a better manager, but at the same time, he's doing the job. So
it's better than no one.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, you could put a melon with a wig on it, and they could do the same job. But
for what
English football is a tremendously weird thing. I don't like the sport itself so much unless I've had a couple of beers, and then I'm like, yes, do the kicking. But like the whole weird politics around it and stuff is very, very interesting, because there appears to be like 3 or 4 managers who just exist off going to like relegation clubs.
Yeah,
either staying up or putting them down.
There's more. There's more than that. There's probably about 8 or 9 who just.
Well, I don't. I mean, my knowledge of this is based on Atletico Mints, so yeah. But yeah, and it I don't know why you don't go. Can this guy not do it? And like point at a Nate, like, because it would be like making people run about and kick balls can't be. Run and kick the balls, lad. How hard can it be?
Yeah,
I think I could do it. I think I'd be pretty good at it. I played a lot of Warhammer. I know tactics. I'm like doing pretty well on Baldur's Gate 3. Like I know like positioning and stuff. Like I don't know. Is it not the same? I've got a Sabutio kit in the loft, I think.
Yeah, it's one of those things that like Nate is kind of loosely. With again, I'm trying not to give away too much in season 2 and 3.
Yeah,
it's kind of like, I know. It's kind of like what happened with Jose Mourinho, who obviously, I assume you're both at least familiar with the name. He's like
Jose. I've been calling him Josie.
Jose, same thing, innit? Who he started off as like an understudy to Bobby Robson, who was like one of the greatest football managers of all time. Literally like Nate and Ted. And then he eventually evolved into one of the greatest managers of all time.
Interesting.
And it was just him like coming out of like essentially his mentor's shadow.
If you can think back to the first time you actually went through this show, what did you expect for season 2? Knowing that at the end of season 1, Ted gets to keep his job, he's coming back. Did you have any guesses as to what was going to happen? Were you just going to wait and see, or what did you think?
I will say the only reason I watched the show was because someone I worked with said, "You'll love this," and I went, "It's about football," and he went, "It isn't about football." And I went, okay, I had a look, and I was like, Jason Sudeikis, okay, that's a good, okay, Hannah Waddingham, that's like pretty good quality. And I went, like, is it just no, it's based on like an advertising thing for, it was characters that were for an advert.
It was for the Premier League in America, wasn't it?
And I was like, and they've made a show out of that. That sounds shit. I'll watch that. As hallmark of greatness, my heart lies in things that are done terribly. And literally, me and my wife sat there, we watched the first episode, and I was like, that's actually really good. And then we watched the second one, and then I think we got up to episode 4 before I was like, it's 11:30 and we've got work in the morning, we need to go to bed. And so that's how this got me. At the end of this, again, I really like the end of it where Ted comes in and he's written his resignation on the back of a takeout menu. But I've signed it and it's in an envelope, so it's legit.
Yeah.
But again, it's that thing of this is the moment where, yeah, right, he's got Roy, that's fine. Roy's not a player anymore because Roy's retired. But he's got Rebecca. And Rebecca wants to fight. Rebecca has gone from destroying the club to making the club the best it's ever been with her in charge. And that's what she sees in Ted. And also Ted does a swear, which is the only time I think he ever does a swear in the first season.
Yeah.
Win the whole fucking thing.
I think he does say shit, doesn't he, at one point?
Yeah, but that's not a real swear, is it? That's like
no,
just like vest or gusset or discharge. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's that spot where he tells Nate to get the hell out of here because he bothers him at night in the hotel.
Yeah.
Yes. And that is when we see. I think we see Ted at his most frustrated because his hair is
like
the
most unhinged Ted we see.
Yeah, because his
hair's all over the place.
Oh, it's unfathomable. It's like flock of seagulls' hair.
Yeah. That's pretty bad hair. Well, what's cool is that we get glimpses of what may be coming down the pike. We know that we like Sam, but we don't know if anything is going to happen to him. But we get very subtle teases here with Sam that pay off later. Like you said, Nate, there's very subtle teases of things that could or could not happen with Nate that pay off later.
I mean, don't get that at the end of season 1.
No, not necessarily with Nate, not for what you're talking about, but you feel like his story is only just beginning. Like there's
yeah. He has to have something happen to him. But at the end of season 1, I just looking at it like objectively.
Yeah.
Now, I just thought Nate was gonna just like rise up and like possibly take Ted's job at the end of it or something.
And for all the audience knows, he does.
Looking at season 1 objectively, as in where do I think this is going to go? I think Rebecca and Ted are going to possibly form a weird relationship. Not like a sexy relationship, because that's not Ted's. Ted is kind of weirdly asexual to me. Like, possibly because his wife's weird and his kids are knobber. But they're going to form this weird thing. I always thought that Ted was going to be training Nate to replace him when he leaves. At this point.
Well, there you go. We'll cut that off right there if we say anything else. Freaking Joe. Jay, let me throw it back to you before Joe says something else weird. What? So I'm looking for
these Polish people.
No, see what you're doing?
I love them. Pierogies are fit, mate.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. I'm looking forward to season 2. However, I'm not at the same time because one character that I really like is going to do some stuff that I'm not thrilled to see happen again. But that's the ride, right? Because, A New Hope is a great film. Okay. Empire ends on a down note and Jedi brings it home. So that's all the teasing I'm going to do. But
literally.
At least you didn't spoil the fact that we're getting that big like Ewok sing-along at the end of like season 3.
Yeah, well, where they're just playing drums on stormtroopers' heads. Yeah, that's somehow worse.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
A load of Ewoks like drumming on Rupert's skull.
Yeah. Oh, mate.
I'm here for that.
That would have been the best ending.
Weirdly, just sorry. When I was in the hotel over the weekend as well, I watched the first episode of Jonathan Creek, and I don't know.
Great show.
Tom, you probably don't know Jonathan Creek, but it's like it's like a murder mystery, but the guy they get to solve the crimes is a guy who makes magic
He's like he makes magic tricks for like the stage magician show.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. It's
genuinely
really
really
good.
good.
Like the first 3 until Caroline Quentin leaves, it's really good. But I watched the first one of them, and before they replace it, because it was the pilot, the guy who is his magician that he does the tricks for is Rupert.
It is Rupert, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, and he's doing a tremendously bad American accent.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's
I love Jonathan Creek. It's such a good show.
Jonathan Creek's fun. Again,
Creek.
it might be on BBC Plus or BBC
It'll
Worldwide
be
or whatever it's called over
On
there.
something. I think it's on UK TV Play over here, so if you can get that on a VPN, maybe.
Well,
But yeah.
not only did you get some tidbits and a few highlights of season 1, you got recommendations of stuff to watch, kids. What more?
I got
can you
loads of
ask
stuff.
for?
Just British TV from the 90s that me and Joe keep throwing out.
Yeah, I will sit here all day. I don't know Jay's sports references, but I know UK comedy. That's all I've got going for me. That and my sweet style.
I am looking forward to season 2. I'm anxious to get cracking again. We've got a lot more way to go here, kids. If you know anything about the show, if you've already watched the show, then you know what's coming. If you haven't watched the show and you're watching along with us, thanks much. We do appreciate it. But you know that there's a lot more to come. Season 2 has 12 episodes. Season 3 also has 12 episodes. So
season 3 has long episodes as well.
Yes, they do.
So-
And if it takes us an hour and a half to talk about a 30-minute episode, what do you think is going to happen when it's an hour episode?
I don't know. I'd say charge your phone. Yeah.
Bring a lunch and a sleeping bag because it's going to take a while. So
I've got stuff to say about Amsterdam.
I'm telling you.
I genuinely think that might be my favorite episode ever.
I think I'm.
Oh, because that episode makes me cry every time I watch it.
Yeah, same, but that's why I love it so much.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, that's some little nice dangling fruit for you there.
That's
it?
right. And
You
Joe
didn't
managed
even
not to
talk
blow
about
anything
Danny
up.
Rojas.
Why?
Oh my God!
Jay started it.
Jay, I don't recall any of that. I think it's all your fault. You're right.
Swear to God.
We totally didn't mention Dan.
I want out of this. This was supposed to be a triangle of trust, and it's now like a line of lies.
Hey, going back to triangles, just to see to episode 1. Beard's book is inverting the pyramid.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, we still connective tissue.
Yeah.
I love that you mentioned Danny. I had it on my notes to mention. We totally didn't mention Danny. We got to give Danny a shout out.
To be fair though, I am glad we did talk a bit more about Sam because, albeit like fleetingly, but because it feels like we have hardly kind of touched on him. Whereas obviously, like we've talked a lot about Danny Rojas in previous episodes.
Yeah, because Danny Rojas is fun. He's a fun, goofy character. Sam doesn't really feature in the first season. He has lines and stuff,
character,
but he is there in the background all the way through it. And again, this is like Jay said before, some of the trees are this big, some of the trees are this big. If you're listening to it in audio format, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
But some trees are big, some trees are small.
Season 2 and 3, I think Sam's one of the best characters.
I'd say season 2 is where everyone's tree comes to full blossom, and season 3 is the reaping of the fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with that. Well done.
But also, Sam.
Sam's tremendous in season 2 and 3.
I forgot a lot of Sam's stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah.
I do like the bit where
I'd be friends with Sam.
Said something about him, and he didn't. Sam doesn't. He goes, "What did he say?" And Beard's like, "Don't worry about it."
Yeah, I heard my name. What did he say? Yeah.
Oh, also as well, like we mentioned, literally everyone else in this book, Coach Beard, like most undervalued player in this season.
Well, I was gonna say like that out of this series. Beard's the only person really we know little to nothing about.
We get little nuggets here and there.
He drops little bits in, like, and we know obviously he loves chess.
Yeah,
and he's a tactician.
Or he just loves chess because he learned to play chess because he wanted to go out with Jane. Because I genuinely think Beard is some kind of savant at times. Because he's always reading books.
True.
I think he's a tactician because, like, some of the books he's reading are all to do with like different things with tactics, and then he plays a lot of chess.
Yes, Joe.
In season 2, can we all try and look at what books he's reading when he's reading the books?
I was planning, and I will do this before we record the next episodes.
Because I think they're probably all literally the plot of that episode, because they're that kind of people.
Let's find out by doing a quick Google on books.
No, it's fine. I've got to go and yeah.
Remember, don't say anything that you need to have cut, because I'm out of that business.
You're not even going to do the one thing. I've never asked you for anything, Tom. Apart from blood plasma that time, right? And you were like, "No, I need it all myself." And I was
start.
Oh, wow.
Go on.
Jay's already looked it up.
No, I found the website, which is like, yeah, I know, right?
Pictures of a bird in the nude.
No, sadly not. But it literally details every single book that is mentioned in Ted Lasso.
Wow.
Or that is read by people, or like it even covers like the books that Ted gives out to the team members.
I think I found that one when we did that episode. But yeah, there is a lot of weird offshoots of websites that have Ted Lasso related stuff. Because I think for the Christmas episode in season 2, I found a treasure trove of movie references in that episode. I got a lot of them myself because I'm so special. No, but just because I watch shit Hallmark films for like a pseudo living.
So the inverting the pyramid that we see
is the one from episode 1 on the plane. Yeah. That's actually not the full name of the book. It's Inverting the Pyramid: The History of Football Tactics.
There you go.
All right.
So it goes back to the whole kind of like tactician thing of Beard, where he's like,
again, it was more just the fact we like Beard just dropped, and it's normally Ted that drops the information about Beard.
yeah,
Like he's normally like, is it when you tore your butt, and he says something about Beard. And Beard's like, "Yep, that happened." But also, like, for someone, is it when he's talking to Nate about biting bottoms?
yeah,
And he's like, "No, I was paid to bite bottoms." Yeah, it's like all these little things, just like he's an enigma all the way through this first season, and it works to his advantage because you need one person who is just a ghost in the machine, like and he plays it very well.
He does. Looking forward to that episode with him. Yeah. Well, kids, there you have it. Season 1 in the books. We could keep going on and on about this show, not just because we like to talk, but because we really love talking about this stuff. And plus, we get sidetracked real easy. We're just yell squirrel while all three at the same time go look. So it's who we are.
I saw a dead squirrel today. It was very sad.
What I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? All I do was say it, and all of a sudden,
there was a dead pigeon right next to it, and I thought, what's happened here?
See, if we're not careful, we're going to start talking about pigeons and then New York City, and then it'll lead to sitcoms or TV shows, and next thing you know, it's
Animaniacs, the wise guys. The pigeons from Animaniacs.
There you go. I was just talking. Now I'm getting ready to do it. We were just talking about that on the 6M podcast last night, actually. So there you go.
Animaniacs.
Yes, it came up. Phil mentioned it. And Phil's quoting Animaniacs line for line. I'm like, I don't recall a whole lot of that at all, dude.
No.
One of the characters in Animaniacs is a Scouser.
Who?
One of the main ones, the one with the hat backwards. Wacko, is it?
Oh, the guy who does his voice is a Scouser.
No, his voice is, he's a Scouser. Like he talks with a Scouse accent.
Ah.
Does he?
Yeah.
I don't even know their name. Dot's the girl, but I don't know the other two. Wacko and what?
Yeah, well, we know
Wacko
what your search histories are like now, don't we?
I'm just saying. Wacko and Dot. Well, what's the other name then, smart guy?
Wacko, Yakko, and Dot.
Well, okay then.
You know, it's like Groucho, Harpo and Chico, isn't it? And then the other two, Zeppo and Bone dysmorphia boy.
No, you got it. It was Groucho, Harpo, Chico, Zeppo.
Gummo and Zeppo. Gummo was never in any of the films. Zeppo was in the first 2 films and then left, and then was kind of replaced by, mate, do you want to talk about the Marx Brothers? Because I will talk about the Marx Brothers.
Not on this show, we're not. No. We're wrapping it up. All right, kids. We hope you enjoyed all the ranting and rambling. It's kind of what we do. We hope you've enjoyed.
Normal service will be resumed next week.
I know, right? We hope you've enjoyed season 1. Just stay tuned. Season 2 is coming your way soon. If you kept up with the episodes, we're going in order. I cannot swear that we won't skip a week, but after this episode you're listening to in season 2, but I can't swear that we will either. So just stay tuned. Remember to follow us on all of our socials. Everywhere we're located is at 2 Nations Pod. So go follow. Be sure to check out Dammit Vince and Hallmark of Greatness, Untitled Wrestling Podcast, Tom Clark's 6M Podcast, and Tom Clark's Main Event. And that's all the shilling I'm going to do for today. Thanks, kids, for watching and listening. We will see you next time. For Jay and Joe, I'm Tom. We'll see you later.